This episode is sponsored by Kinsta. As a business, you have client meetings and keeping up with everyday tasks. Who has the time to stress out about site security and speed? Well, with Kinsta, the technical stuff is taken care of. Kinsta is your managed hosting provider for WordPress, meaning that customers get a hosting environment alongside a plethora of features, configurations, and optimizations. With Kinsta, you get lightning-fast load times, top-tier security, and unmatched human-only customer support. Whether you're a business owner, web developer, or running a digital agency, Kinsta makes managing your website easy and efficient. Did I mention fast load times? Just by moving to Kinsta, you can experience up to 200% faster load times, as well as enterprise-grade security. And thanks to their unlimited free expert-led migrations, Kinsta ensures a smooth transition from other hosting providers. I really enjoy My Kinsta, which is the platform's intuitive custom dashboards that make managing my website or multiple websites a breeze. Ready to experience Kinsta's hosting for yourself? Get your first month free when you sign up at kinsta.com today. It's the perfect opportunity to see why Kinsta is trusted by thousands of businesses worldwide to power their websites. Visit kinsta.com to get this limited time offer for new customers on select plans. Don't miss out. Get started for free today. Guys, I've got something cool to tell you about. As an engineering leader, a manager, and an engineer myself, I'm geeking out over a new product I'm just discovering that helps me with each of these points of view. The great team at SEMA, builders of the SEMA Intelligence Platform, have been working on what they call the Product Roadmap Radar. It's this integrated solution that uses generative AI to observe your code and Jira in order to summarize, synthesize, and make it easier to deliver your roadmap. It not only helps keep your roadmap on track, but it helps reduce the time engineers spend in meetings. Cue all the engineers clapping. The Product Roadmap Radar is extremely easy to set up. This only takes about 5 minutes. Just enable your integrations and let AI do all the mapping for you. My favorite part? I'm glad you asked. The radar doesn't just tell you about your roadmap. It suggests changes you need to make based on the code that's been written and the stories that have been addressed. No commenting, no special setup, all generative AI. It gives you an outside view of your roadmap based on the code and projects a target completion date based on outstanding work and activity. Again, no comments, no special setup. It even detects shadow work when development is being done but Jira isn't being updated. I'm pretty jazzed about it, and I think you will be too. Take a second to watch a short but awesome demo video. Go to codestory.co/PRR to watch it today. You'll like what you see. This episode is sponsored by Postman. Postman is the world's leading API platform, trusted by 98% of the Fortune 500 and over 40 million developers. Tap into APIs from 18,000 plus companies to power agents that make smarter decisions. Learn more at postman.com/podcast/codestory. This message is sponsored by Melee Search. Today, search isn't just a feature, it's a cornerstone. And Melee Search gives your users the experience they need with lightning-fast performance, full-text search, AI usage, and multimodal capabilities. Melee Search delivers relevant results in less than the blink of an eye. Use the promo code CODESTORY at checkout to get 2 months free at meleesearch.com. That's MEILI search.com.
One of the things that I'm most proud of, it's not necessarily easy to have a team that is both so rooted in the verticals and the products and engaged in what is happening there, but still able to look into deep tech and build core technology that allows everyone to build awesome products on top of it. To recognize that any algorithm that people build for one product, immediately you see other products kind of looking, wait, what did you build for them? We want it too. My name is Ofir Bibi, and I'm the VP Research at Lightrix.
This is Code Story, a podcast bringing you interviews with tech visionaries.
Spent 6 months moonlighting.
There's nothing on the back end.
Who share what it takes to change an industry.
I don't exactly know what to
took
do next.
many goes to get right.
who built the teams that have their
A
back,
company is its
The
people.
teams help each other achieve
Most
more.
proud of our team.
keeping scalability top of mind.
All that infrastructure was a
Yes,
pain.
we've been fighting it as we grow.
Total waste of time.
The stories you don't read in the headlines.
It's not an easy thing to achieve, mind
Took it
you.
off the shelf and dusted it off and tried it again.
To ride the ups and downs of the startup life.
You need to really want it.
It's not just about technology.
All this and more on Code Story. I'm your host, Noah Labhart, and today, how Ofir Bibi is leading research in open source video models, making them faster, smoother, and with more control than ever. This episode is brought to you by Paddle. Don't settle for less when you can have more MOR with Paddle, your merchant of record. Eliminate the headaches of payments, grow your revenue everywhere, and focus on what you do best, building your product. Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. This episode is brought to you by PropelOff. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use PropelOff. PropelOff is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, PropelOff adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When off is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with PropelOff. Check them out at propeloff.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com. Ofir Bibi grew up in Jerusalem and is where he is today because of his love for photography. He has always been a tinkerer, taking apart radios and such, and was drawn to the early days of training neural networks in computational photography. He spent a number of years in academia, but eventually was drawn outside of that world. But outside of tech, he's married with 3 boys who play sports. His family is surrounded by nature, so they enjoy biking and walking as much as they can. In 2012, a company was formed around bridging the gap between imagination and creation through video, apps, and studio-grade tools. Ofir recently celebrated 10 years with this company and came in with the title Neural Networks Guy. This is Ofir's creation story of Lightrix.
Lightrix has been around since 2012. It was founded by a couple of guys from academia, from computer vision and AI. They thought we were building a lot of very, very cool technology, basically for academic demos in conferences like SIGGRAPH and other stuff like that. These conferences actually require you to create very functional things. You really build algorithms that do something, but they kind of stay in academia. They wanted to bring these to consumers. They wanted to bring the latest and greatest in research to the hands of every person who's interested. It was just around the same time when mobile devices started becoming more popular and more common. The idea was to create a portrait editing app, which is the first app Lightrix built, which is called Facetune. That came out in the year that was later called the year of the selfie. The front-facing cameras on mobile devices started getting good enough for everyone to just hold it up and take a picture. It had a lot of tech behind it to make sure that if you want to just smooth your skin, then you just smooth your skin and not go and smooth the background. If you want to whiten your teeth, then you just whiten your teeth and not your lips. And the tech was required to make these magical experiences on a mobile device. And that was the breakaway product for Lightrix that caught on, became very popular, and became the main engine for Lightrix in that day to grow and create more and more products. Our vision in the company is bridging the gap between imagination and creation. I think a lot of us are not necessarily graphic designers or professionals, and we want still to get to some visual content or content at large that is of high quality, and we're not necessarily going to learn how to use very complex tools. At some point, we shifted towards also connecting all the creators that were using our products and using them to create content with brands and companies and businesses that were looking for that type of content and for the creators behind it. We took basically our products and another company that we acquired and really worked on making these connections and offering the synergy between the two ends of it, of brands looking for creators and creators already making really awesome content. And phase 3 was more technological with the advent of AI and generative models. Like Gen AI is the buzzword today, right? But at Lightrix, we've been doing generative modeling, machine learning, or AI, call it whatever you like, since 2017 or so. We've had generative neural networks running on mobile devices since 2019. But at some point, the really advanced models got to be both very big, so they weren't fitting on mobile devices, and very good. Suddenly you can do all kinds of things. If you could just pose the problem you wanted to solve as this generative problem of how do I create, how do I generate something, then you could solve pretty much all problems that we were facing. So if we imagined all kinds of experiences, like I have a photo and I just want to pick up this one object and move it a little bit to the right and fill the hole that is created behind it, and then change the whole framing of that image. So all of that were things that we were building a lot of tech to make happen. And suddenly it all kind of fit into one big box of a foundational model that was trained on a lot of data, that has a lot of parameters in it. And these things started clicking into place. We realized that we wanted to build not just an addition to our current products with these abilities, but instead build a new type of product that is using generative AI as its engine, as its core to actually produce content. And that is when LTX Studio was born. Basically a product that is meant to allow you to tell your story and to create it using a lot of generative AI tech. That was a very big shift for us from like B2C to B2B. And also in the technological stack, we saw that we needed a really strong engine because we chose, the Gen AI as the engine for it. Maybe phase 4 was for us to decide to build our own model for video generation, which is LTX video. That is kind of brings us to where we are today, releasing the latest, biggest model that we've built by integrating it into all of our products, offering it to other customers, both licensing. That kind of is where we are today. So my phase is pretty early. I actually celebrated 10 years at Lightrix just a month ago. I came in on the ticket of the neural networks guy, basically. I came with a background of training neural networks and doing a lot of heavier lifting machine learning. And I really, really wanted to build the best camera app in the world that just gets you like professional DSLR type photos from the camera on a mobile device. Yoan, the CTO, after quite a while, where he always kind of poked me and asked, what am I doing? Am I interested to join? It was, like I said, it was time for me to leave academia and go and build that camera. So I joined the company 10 years ago, started out by building one of the apps that was more geared towards both a camera and lightweight batch editing. So I took that alongside with the camera. And it was really a wild ride where I was able to both learn about the mobile platform and all the capabilities of that hardware, which seems very little from the outside, but it could be really quite a lot. Building a really good camera, and then also later learning that it's really hard to beat the stock camera on mobile devices. And even if you are objectively better, convincing people to turn on your app for a camera instead of just a button on the homepage. From there, basically built all the machine learning inference engines that we've had for running neural networks on mobile devices, built the research team from the ground up. Now, as VP Research, I manage, I like to call it the guys in charge of the magic behind the scenes, or the magician behind the curtain. We build the algorithmic core of Lightric's products. LTX Video is one great example, managing a large portion of the tech department.
I'm curious, when you came and joined, you've done a lot in the last 10 years. When you came and joined, what you would consider your MVP when you joined the company, right? So that first version of what you were coming in to build or to address, I'm curious about, how long it took you to realize that MVP and what you were using to bring it to life.
My MVP was really well formed even before I joined, in the sense that I wanted to be able to shoot photos on a mobile device and be able to print them out in a large enough format without it being totally blurry, and all the things that I saw when actually trying to print out a lot of photos that I took with a mobile device. That was really kind of my metric for an MVP, to be able to find a way to generate much higher quality photos comparing to just, pointing and clicking on the stock camera. It took quite a lot of combining people who know the mobile platform, who know how to access specific hardware APIs, then kind of joining them to build the algorithm on top of the abilities that we've had for acquisition. Because if, for instance, I want to get 10 photos instead of one, and then let's call it average them out to get a cleaner, better image, then these 10 photos need to be very, very similar to one another. Otherwise, it's really hard for me to average them out. And if I want them to be similar and the world is moving, right, I have subjects in the photo, I have people going by, then I want the photos to be the best quality possible by the device, and I want them to be as fast as possible. Finding the way to do it when it's not naturally in the APIs provided by Apple, mostly in iPhones. That was one challenge. The other challenge was building the algorithms to do what was needed, like, again, matching between these types of images, clearing out obstructions like people going into the frame. Then on top of that, you need to actually build an app, right? You need to build the UX. You need to build an app that allows people to go into the camera, to understand how to use it. We've had a really small team, basically 3 people working on it, a designer, an engineer, and myself with the kind of mixed ML engineer. And it took really diving into the hardware and understanding how to squeeze out every possible frame as fast as possible, using video APIs instead of photo APIs to get a lot of frames very quickly. Like our CEO, Zev, went to Apple to demonstrate the suite of apps that we were building. So this was just one of them. It was just a demo. He took this MVP that was, still crashing on memory and all kinds of things like that, and went and told this Apple executive that he has a camera that really beats the stock camera. And they were really proud of their stock camera. And at that point, like, he's telling me the story and I'm starting to sweat because, like, is he actually going to compare this demo that crashes once in a while with the stock camera and then like a really polished iPhone? That's exactly what they did. They stood in the conference room, took their phones out, and Zev went to RF, like my MVP, and that executive went to their stock camera. And they pointed out towards the window. The end result was that, like, the Apple executive was mumbling curses around the fact that our HDR looked better than theirs, and it was just an app on top of the device and not the stock camera. Even though I wasn't there and it was only our CEO telling me the story, that was like one of the happiest times I heard that someone got really upset by something good I did.
Guys, I've got something cool to tell you about. As an engineering leader, a manager, and an engineer myself, I'm geeking out over a new product I'm just discovering that helps me with each of these points of view. The great team at SEMA, builders of the SEMA Intelligence Platform, have been working on what they call the Product Roadmap Radar. It's this integrated solution that uses generative AI to observe your code and Jira in order to summarize, synthesize, and make it easier to deliver your roadmap. It not only helps keep your roadmap on track, but it helps reduce the time engineers spend in meetings. Cue all the engineers clapping. The Product Roadmap Radar is extremely easy to set up. This only takes about 5 minutes. Just enable your integrations and let AI do all the mapping for you. My favorite part? I'm glad you asked. The radar doesn't just tell you about your roadmap. It suggests changes you need to make based on the code that's been written and the stories that have been addressed. No commenting, no special setup, all generative AI. It gives you an outside view of your roadmap based on the code and projects a target completion date based on outstanding work and activity. Again, no comments, no special setup. It even detects shadow work when development is being done but Jira isn't being updated. I'm pretty jazzed about it, and I think you will be too. Take a second to watch a short but awesome demo video. Go to codestory.co/PRR to watch it today. You'll like what you see. This episode is brought to you by Paddle. As a startup, you face unique challenges to stay competitive. You and your team need to stay focused on your product, not your payments. You need to do more MOR and DIY less with Paddle. Paddle is your merchant of record, becoming the seller of record for your SaaS transactions, enabling your team to focus on what's important, your product. Paddle handles all payment management across multiple gateways and methods, taking ownership of tax liability while remaining compliant with regulations across all markets. The platform handles all aspects of SaaS billing, billing models, upgrades, add-on, trials, and more. Let's look at the results. MOR revenue optimization is built into Paddle and accounts for up to 16% higher conversion rates, reduced payment failures, localized pricing, and churn prevention, recovering 40% of cancellations. Their developer-friendly tools are API first with comprehensive documentation, removing the burden from your engineers. With Paddle as your merchant of record, you'll generate more revenue, find and keep more customers, grow faster, and stay compliant everywhere. So what are you waiting for? Get more revenue with less hassle at paddle.com. This message is sponsored by Vanta. Trust isn't just earned, it's demanded. Whether you're a startup founder navigating your first audit or a seasoned security professional scaling your GRC program, proving your commitment to security has never been more critical or more complex. That's where Vanta comes in. Businesses use Vanta to establish trust by automating compliance for in-demand frameworks like SOC 2, ISO 27001, HIPAA, and more. And with automation and AI throughout the platform, you can proactively manage vendor risk and complete security questionnaires up to 5 times faster, getting valuable time back. Vanta can also save you money. A new IDC white paper found that Vanta customers achieve $535,000 per year in benefits. So the platform pays for itself in just 3 months. Join over 10,000 global companies like Atlassian, Quora, and Factory who use Vanta to manage risk and prove security in real time. For a limited time, listeners get $1,000 off Vanta at vanta.com/codestory. That's VANTA.com/codestory
for $1,000 off. This episode is sponsored by Postman. APIs are the foundation of reliable AI, and reliable APIs start with Postman. Trusted by 98% of the Fortune 500, Postman is the platform that helps over 40 million developers build and scale the APIs behind their most critical business workflows. With Postman, teams get centralized access to the latest LLMs and APIs, MCP support, and no-code workflows, all in one platform. Quickly integrate critical tools and build multi-step agents without writing a single line of code. Start building smarter, more reliable agents today. Visit postman.com/podcast/codestory to learn more. That's postman.com/podcast/codestory.
From that point, right, with your MVPs, how have you progressed and matured it? And I think that kind of leads into really the crux of the question is, how do you build your roadmap? How do you go about deciding what's the next most important thing to build or to address, or which product to make, all those things within Lightrix?
I think it really changed over the years, but we've always been led both by our customers or potential customers and by technology. Company started by the fact that we saw technology that could be really useful, but was not getting to consumers. The main line of thought would be, if there is such advanced technology, how can you actually wrap it with a product that is polished, that is easy, that is understandable, and actually creates value for the person who uses it? Because if it's just some gimmick, if it's just some demo that is, nice to look at once, then it's not going to work right for a company. It's maybe really nice for an academic conference, but it's not going to work as a product where people actually want to use it and come back to it all the time. So we were trying to solve for problems that people had, or for needs that we saw, out there, or maybe give a much, much higher quality solution to other things that were happening. Facetune was really about the fact that we tried to build a photo editing app, and it had two distinct qualities. One, it was focused to a very specific domain. It was about portrait images, it was about faces, it was about people who want to edit their photos before going on socials that were just, booming as well. We wanted to be able to allow these people to edit their photos on our app. And the second thing was the fact that it was on mobile. It was a new platform. Not a lot of people were building for it at that time. Some of the bigger companies that were kind of trying to take their desktop apps and squeeze them into a very, very small screen. And it just, it didn't work. So taking these two things and creating a product for the social generation, the social boom, that was the beginning. Since then, we've had a vision of building the tools that allow people to execute and to create what it is that they want, what it is that they imagine. And we've tried to, hit the spot with whatever it is that we were building. And for sure, we've had bigger products that were successful. Some products were less successful. We've had, at the beginning, different times where we've had many, many apps, then we started consolidating. Right now, I think technology again became a very, very prominent driver for how we choose what we build. We see the opportunities of what it is that we can actually build. And we also try to think not just about how people are used to working now, but also on what are the workflows of tomorrow? What are the things that people are maybe finding hard to do now, and they can do it with new technology in a much, much better way, but it's going to look a little bit different than what they're used to. Combining the user experience and the user interfaces with the technology to solve for expensive in time or money or resources, that is what drives us. A product like LTX Studio, for instance, is something that can help someone who wants to create a pitch for a new show. So instead of doing something very, very simplistic You can go and without having a photo shoot, without paying for a lot of VFX, you can create a whole movie that pitches your idea and really visualizes everything that you imagined at a fraction of the cost, at a fraction of the time, and really allows you to get to where you need to go.
So I'm curious about team. You mentioned building a team of researchers. How'd you go about building that team, and what did you look for in those people to indicate that they're the winning horses to join you?
Building Lightrix research has been really a great part of what I've been doing at Lightrix. Hiring is something that can never, be overrated, and especially at times when researchers are sought after and everyone's trying to get really the best of the best. It's also a hard task that needs a lot of time and effort. At the beginning, I think we've had a really good starting point by the fact that the founding team were all researchers coming from academia and had both connections and knew kind of to put in the time and effort both in the company and the product, but also in hiring. When I joined, I actually brought with me a friend from my previous company to be the second researcher right after me. And he was maybe my first hire. At that time, we were wearing two hats. We were researchers, but we were also doing engineering and development. We were building, UI elements in the apps themselves. It was still a small crew of 12 people. There wasn't anyone who was just a researcher. At some point, I saw more and more opportunities to build really algorithms and to put more time into building the core for running neural networks on device. And we tried hiring people that were able to do both worlds, to be engineers and researchers. But that profile is both very rare, and the training of such people is very, very long. Eventually, you kind of lose focus. So the first hire was actually someone who was really good if he could be just a researcher, but we tried to fit him into a role that where he's also an engineer. At that point, I understood that in order to build a team, I need to split the responsibilities and hire for two different roles, where one would be an engineer that actually is able to do all the things that needed to be done around, but still speak the language and be able to take an algorithm maybe from someone who does it more as a prototype and really bring it to the platform, which is, it's different. It's not the same platform where you would develop the algorithm, but then you need to run the algorithm on a mobile device in a different language and different hardware. It's a skill set of its own. And people who are researchers, who can learn how to train neural networks, who can look at the pixels and chase them down and make them perfect at the end, and consistent and robust to whatever image our customers were throwing at it. At that point, hiring really, really changed. We were looking for people who are A players, who wanted to dive in and chase those pixels. If they were building the algorithm or implementing it on device, we just wanted people who cared about quality. And so the people I went and hired and the people I talked to, a lot of them had knowledge and a lot of them had, a good skill set in the technical elements of it. But I think the key for me to build the initial team of Lightrix research was around really finding those people who had this obsession with making what they build work in the best way possible. And it's really hard to say what types of questions you can actually ask. But I think that when you actually ask the person what is their passion and what was the thing that they worked on that they most connected to, and then kind of see how deep you can dive with them, how much effort they put into it, how much details they know about it, how many thoughts they had about things they never tried and really wanted to get to. That type of conversation was really important to get the people who are, again, obsessed about building something of high quality. It's really the thing that remained true throughout the years, and now maybe the role has changed, maybe again the technical skill set has changed, but that quality is what makes the leaders and seniors in the team.
This episode is brought to you by PropelOff. People take authentication for granted, but it's more than how customers log into your product. It's how you manage your relationship with your users. The easiest way to make authentication your advantage is to use PropelOff. PropelOff is more than just functional. It's powerful. With tools like Managed UIs, Enterprise SSO, robust user management features, and actionable insights, PropelOff adapts as your product grows. And the best part? When auth is effortless, your team can focus on scaling, not troubleshooting. That means more releases, happier customers, and more growth for your business. Save dev time, win over your customers, and propel your business forward with PropelOff. Check them out at propeloff.com. That's PROPELAUTH.com. This episode is sponsored by MailySearch. In today's digital landscape, search isn't just a feature, it's a cornerstone. And you need a user experience that drives customer satisfaction. You need MailySearch. MailySearch is lightning fast performance, returning answers in less than 50 milliseconds. Yeah, you heard that right. Faster than the blink of an eye. The open source AI search engine is plug and play, so you can get up and running in minutes with smart presets, allowing you to start searching through your data with zero configuration. MailySearch utilizes advanced full-text search and AI, ensuring your results are ultra-relevant with semantic depth. It's multimodal, supporting images, videos, and audio, along with being federated, i.e. searching across multiple data sources. And it's developer-friendly. Whether you're building a content-rich website or enterprise application, MailySearch delivers the experience your users expect and deserve. For a limited time, CodeStory users can get 2 months free. Use the promo code CODESTORY, all one word, at checkout. Just go to MailySearch.com and get started today. That's MEILI search.com. So, as you step out on the balcony, you look across all that you've built thus far. What are you most proud of?
The team itself and its role within Bytrix is one of the things that I'm most proud of. It's not necessarily easy to have a team that is both so rooted in the verticals, in the products, and engaged in what is happening there, but still able to look into deep tech and build core technology that allows everyone to build awesome products on top of it. To recognize that any algorithm that people build for one product in my group, immediately you see other products kind of looking, wait, what did you build for them? We want it too, maybe just a little bit different. Let's add it to our product as well. Having that conversation and being able to build something internally that is then used and not left on the shelf, which is a risk in research where it's not always immediate. It's not always building from now to the next sprint. It's sometimes months. It could have been years even. So making sure that you build the right thing, the right core technology to integrate it into the product and see how it's refined to be used by our customers, that's really something that I'm proud of. In it, there's a bunch of stuff that I really like the latest one is building LTX video, which is a huge effort, and so few teams in the world actually build foundational models that generate video at that level. So making it work and getting to where we're at right now is, again, huge accomplishment for me.
Let's flip the script a little bit. Tell me about a mistake you made and how you and your team responded to it.
To run sometimes with the thought that we could build anything on top of it by basically prompting it correctly and patching it a little bit with pre-processing and post-processing. It's not that we went in blind and some people around us were saying, yes, you can build anything in a week or anything in 2 weeks. So it wasn't about that. We were actually looking at new foundational models like Stable Diffusion, and we said okay, so it can't do everything that we want it to do, but it can do a big chunk of it, like let's say 60%, and maybe in a year from now it will be 90%, but still 60 is huge. And maybe it's not going to take a week or 2 weeks, but in a week or 2 weeks, I can actually build POC that is really, really of high quality. It's not production ready, but it is of high quality and gives me all the signals I need to know if it's going to work or not. And then I'll need maybe 2 months to build something that before took 6 months or 10 months. And it seemed amazing. But the big mistake there was to think that bringing the proofs of concepts, the 80-20, bringing it to be 95%, which let's say is production ready, that it's going to be feasible using classic image processing and patching the things that the models were not doing very well, and then building all these complex pipelines with a lot of engineering and a lot of algorithms. It was really hard work, and we made a lot of really good features with it, but everything was kind of shaky. If you've had an error, then it would aggregate over, the next step in your pipeline and the next step in your pipeline. And some things seemed really good in our evaluations, but then when you send it out to millions of users, suddenly you see it's not robust enough and the fail cases are pretty extreme. All these things were coming from the fact that the base models were just not good enough. And instead of putting in the time to do deeper research and to build by fine-tuning models and training them more and doing things in a fundamental way, we tried kind of patching around them. And that, bitter lesson basically is something that caused some features to be of lower quality than what we were used to, and some missed deadlines when we were assuming that a timeline, again, of 2 weeks for a POC, and you make it and it looks really good, and then you say, yeah, so maybe another month or 2 to finish it, and suddenly it takes 3 or 4. All these things were really a big problem. It was also hard to convince people around us, like product and sometimes even management, to see that taking the time to train more and to build more into the base models is the right way to go, because the initial cost of it is much, much bigger than trying to patch around an existing model. Doing that work of convincing and, first of all, understanding it, and then convincing everyone around you and getting the buy-in to do a couple of projects where you go deeper and solve it, like the root cause of what was not working, actually. That was the main activity for us to actually do. Once we did that, and once I was able to get everyone aligned on how we would work going forward, I think we've seen many more successes and many more high quality features being delivered by the research team.
So you're getting on a plane and you're sitting next to a young builder who's created the next big thing. They're jazzed about it. They can't wait to show it off to the world, and can't wait to show it off to you right there on a plane. What advice do you give that person, having gone down this road a bit?
First of all, it's great that they have the enthusiasm to go and chase it down and show it to everyone that they meet. That's, I think, the most important thing, because once you commit to something like that, so I said, I have 3 boys, but, even though I'm maybe an early employee, not a founder, it's still like another child to have something that is so important to you that you commit so much of your time to. So having that excitement and commitment is really the first thing. But once you get down to it, I would definitely say that making the right choices around the team that they build this thing with is super important, because the people that you work with initially really set the tone for how you do things, not just what you're capable of achieving, but how you behave, how you communicate, how you build is a lot of times, affected by the mindset and the ways of working with the people that you're in the team with. Once you have a good team, then you're able to criticize and analyze and look at what is the right choice for you at any point in time, and to create more opportunities instead of just going with whatever works at that point in time. All of these things, you need a really strong environment, a really strong team to make it work.
Well, that's fantastic advice. Well, Ofir, thank you for being on the show today, and thank you for telling your creation story at Lightrix.
Thank you for hosting me.
And this concludes another chapter of Code Story. Code Story is hosted and produced by Noah Labhart. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the podcasting app of your choice. And when you get a chance, leave us a review. Both things help us out tremendously. And thanks again for listening.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences, and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity, and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently, too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.